Hi, my name is Mike Troxel, and I want to welcome you to Journey Through Proverbs. I just recently started the new devotional process, and that's going through the book of Proverbs verse by verse and studying, just reading it slowly and carefully. I'm not in any hurry. I have no time demand. I'm just reading it through. And as I find something that I think will be valuable to share with you, I'm going to do that. I'm not going to be sharing doctrine. I'm not going to be sharing theology. I'm not going to be talking about churches. This is only practical information, lessons from these Proverbs, this ancient book in the Old Testament of the Bible, that are just timeless wisdom to help you have happy, healthy relationships, to be physically and mentally healthy, how to have successful finances, to invest better. There is a whole range of things that are dealt with in the book of Proverbs, all of which are practical to really benefit your life. So I want to start right with the first few verses in Proverbs, and so I'm going to pull those up on the screen so you're able to see those. So what I would note, we want to notice is it says, these are the Proverbs of Solomon. Now, Solomon, in many traditions, in Christianity as well as outside of Christianity, is thought to be the wisest man to ever live. I don't know if he truly was the wisest man, but what I do know, he was pretty smart. He had a lot of wisdom, and he wrote that wisdom down in the book of Proverbs so that you and I and all the generations after would be benefited. He was David's son, the king of Israel. So he inherited the throne from his father David, who was king of Israel, and he in turn was king. This is what he says the purpose of Proverbs is right at the outset of the book. Verse 2 says, their purpose is to teach people wisdom and discipline, to help them understand the insights of the wise. Their purpose is to teach people to live disciplined and successful lives, to help them do what is right, just, and fair. So one of the things I want to mention is that when you're studying any piece of literature, it doesn't matter if it's religious literature, it doesn't matter if it's the Bible or the Quran or the whatever it is. It could be scientific literature. It could be, anything you're looking to derive some educational, academic benefit from, something you want to grow by. I'm not talking about you reading a story because you just wanting to relax and ease your mind, but something you're wanting to actually to educate yourself with. One of the important principles for really understanding is actually taking the time to read every word carefully. This is really a communication principle when we deal with people. Part of understanding what someone is saying and responding appropriately to that is taking the time to actually listen to them. Stop our mouth, stop our mind from thinking about what we're going to say next, jumping to a conclusion about what we think the person is going to say, but actually listen to the words they're actually saying and getting the information that's even behind the words that's not expressly said in those words. So when you're reading a piece of literature, you can't really get what's expressly the emotion, you can't get body language, none of that, because the author is not there. So you have to go by the words and you read it very carefully. In fact, a lot of the doctrinal differences that exist from among Christianity and the different denominations really is a result of people jumping to hasty conclusions and not actually taking the time to carefully, slowly read what is actually being said in the text. And then those misconceptions get handed down to people that come after them, and it develops into a doctrinal position that churches hold, and those kind of things get held by church after church, all throughout history. We've seen those kind of things, and then people start fighting over them. They start killing over them. They abuse people. They segment societies over them of who's the good people, who are the bad people. That's not my point of what I want to do. I want to help you to be healthy. I want to give you principles that will be good. So that's the very purpose of this book. He said the purpose is, he uses the word teach twice and he uses the word help twice. So let's just start in verse 2. He says his purpose is to, or the Proverbs purpose is to teach people wisdom and discipline. Now, wisdom and knowledge are not the same thing. Knowledge is the information that you have, how you understand something, how something works, how to do something. Wisdom is being able to apply the knowledge of whatever that situation is, and then being able to apply it so that you bring the best outcome possible. It is knowing how to navigate using that information or knowledge to successfully get to a conclusion, a destination of where you're trying to go. So wisdom, the purpose is to teach wisdom, but it's also to teach discipline. It's not all so much about teaching understanding knowledge, but it does do that. We're going to see that all throughout the book, but it's really to teach you wisdom, that ability to use the knowledge correctly. And then also discipline. Now, I don't know a lot of people that really talk about how much they want to be disciplined. I hear people say it, especially at the end of a year, going into the beginning of the new year, but the reality is usually the reverse. We don't typically like to live disciplined lives, but here's the thing. The wealthy and very successful in this world live disciplined lives. If you want to be among them, you have to learn how to discipline yourself, because success is going to come through being disciplined. In verse 3, he says their purpose is to teach people, again, to live disciplined and successful lives. Success is a fruit of discipline. What you do, your habits, your words you speak, the thoughts you think, the choices you make, what you believe, what you do, how you spend your time, how you spend your money, all of what you do with relationships and who you have relationships with, all of these things are a part of the disciplines that lead to successful lives. We're going to talk about a lot more than just that in the book of Proverbs. In verse 2, it says the Proverbs are to help people to understand the insights of the wise, to know what makes them tick, why they do what they do, what is it they understand that's different. And then in verse 3, to help them do what is right, just, and fair. So the whole purpose of understanding right knowledge, having good knowledge, and then being wise, having wisdom, the ability to apply that knowledge, is so that you and I can live disciplined, just, right, fair lives, so that we're able to be successful, so that we're able to be happy. And that's really what the book of Proverbs is about. And that's really what my channel has been about as I talk about finances. So each one of these videos are going to be short. They're not going to last very long, a few minutes, just to give you something to think about. We're going to dig into the chapter and have some fun together as what we look at. By the way, I want to mention to you, I am using the New Living Translation and all of what I'm going to be going over and sharing. It's my favorite version. I have a lot of different versions, but the New Living Translation is the one that I use the most for devotional purposes, because it's just crisp and clear. All right, I'll see you in our next video together.